What's up, guys? Hope you all are doing fantastic. Today is going to be about something a little bit different, something electric. This Hiboy Max Pro scooter. And before we get into it, let's rewind a little bit, shall we? All right, just wanted to show you real quick that as I was opening the box, I noticed it had the instructions literally right on the box. So even without a manual, you can just follow these steps and assemble it. So yeah, I'm excited to get this thing put together, and hopefully it's not too much work and we'll get going. So that's it out of the box before putting it together or anything, and it looks pretty good. I do like the fact that it comes with extra tubes for the tires, because on scooters, from my experience, that's the first thing that goes bad even before the batteries. So the fact that they give you extra tubes is a plus. That's awesome. So yeah, gonna put this together right now. Seems to be pretty simple, like the clamping process and everything. Just gonna assemble it real quick and we'll go from there. So for installation, I honestly didn't even need to use the instructions because everything is pretty self-explanatory, and the clamps actually have lettering on them letting you know which way is it to open. In this case, it's this way. Yeah, very impressive initial look at it. The only installation that you will have to do is the 8 screws over here. I installed already the other ones. I'm gonna do this in front of you guys right now just to install these screws, and that way it should be ready to go. But yeah, just looking at it, I'm liking this kind of rubber top. It's like an anti-slip top here, which is great. The scooter actually seems very beefy and very solid. Just from initial looks, it looks like a high quality item, and the fact that it has front suspension is actually awesome. They look like oil shocks too, which is gonna mean a much smoother ride than you would on a normal scooter. The diameter of the tire as well is pretty big as far as electric scooters, and I've owned a few electric scooter, and this kind of looks a little bit different in terms of quality. It does look more solid and beefy, but again, once we drive it, we'll kind of figure out all the ins and outs of the scooter. I do love the fact that it has front and rear brakes, which is awesome, because most scooters, again, electric scooters, either give you either a front or a rear brake. So this one has both, and that's really nice. These screws seem like they have a little bit of Loctite thread lock on there, and I'm just gonna tighten them pretty well. Not too much, you don't want to strip anything, because they are 8, which is more than enough to hold this handlebar in. So this is actually pretty thoughtful. It shows you how to split the wheel hub so you can access that inner tube, because like I said, on most electric scooters that I've owned, if anything usually goes bad on these things, it's usually that tube. So the fact that they give you instructions to change it yourself and how to operate and remove the wheels, that's awesome. Look at the dash once you start it. You actually have almost a full dashboard with all the telemetry and everything, and you have even the Bluetooth connectivity here. You can double click to change modes like eco, drive, and of course sport. That's pretty awesome. I really like the ease of use. Also, with most scooters you get the front LED light, and this one is actually pretty powerful for its size. Might not look much here, but trust me, in the night, if you're cruising around, you're gonna need it. I love these old school bells. They sound so funny, and actually I think this is more than you need when you're on a scooter. I hate really annoying horns or anything like that on these electric scooters. On a car or something, on a bike, yeah, but on an electric scooter, this is way more than you need. And I just noticed the LED light on the side, which you'll probably see better at night, and this is not just a stylish feature. This is actually a safety feature when you're driving at night, and I love the fact that it has a rear brake light here. That's awesome. Yeah, one thing I'll show you as well is the suspension, which I'm really happy it has, because driving this on the road, it can get pretty bumpy. especially with the roads we have here. Sometimes you have little holes, potholes, and just damaged roads. So it helps to have front and rear suspension apparently. Watch the front suspension as I hop on it. See that flex? That makes a huge difference when you're on the road. Plus having these large sidewall tires, that makes it a much more comfortable ride, and you can actually tell when driving this that it's super comfortable. Another thing is the rear also does the same. That flex is awesome. So you don't only have front, but you also have front and rear suspension. So I decided to take it for a spin around the block, and the first thing that I really loved about this scooter is how smooth and stable it is. So a couple of times I actually took my hands off of the bars while moving. I don't recommend you do that, but I just did it to see if it'll go straight, and it kind of did, with the exception of leaning my body. But yeah, being an electric scooter, I didn't just want to cruise with it, in the neighborhood. I wanted to take it and meet up with some friends on the golf course, which of course is something you cannot do with a non-electric scooter. And I wanted to test the suspension on this scooter because the concrete slabs actually have big gaps sometimes, and it can be quite harsh. I've done it before with a couple of other scooters, and it's a rough ride. So I thought it would be a perfect test for this scooter, and yeah, I was pretty impressed with it. It is limited to 22 miles an hour, but I will say on the downhill portions I hit 28 a couple of times, which is not super fast, but on a scooter like this it's more than you need to go. I did really enjoy it. It's pretty quiet, smooth. The brakes work absolutely fantastic. Obviously there is no ABS, but still you don't really need it that much. The front doesn't lock up like the rear, which is great, and it's, I think, done as a safety feature. But yeah, it's super enjoyable around the trails and quiet. And again, I say I'm meeting up with friends on the golf course. Not that I play golf at all. I just enjoy, doodling on the golf course when I can, because the trails there are actually quite beautiful and it's quite scenic. So I'll let the video run for a bit and you guys can see the scooter in action before I pick it up again. My favorite thing about these things is the fact that when you decide to ride them, whether it's for transport or for just pure, enjoyment or fun or relaxation, nobody really complains. It's just so quiet. You're not really bothering anyone. Yeah, and people are kind of almost happy for you to be there. So that's the main thing, I think. That's the fun factor with these scooters, is that the accessibility and the places where you can ride them is almost infinite. I struggle to see a place where these might be, illegal to ride or whatever. But yeah, they're just very harmless. As long as you're not being silly with them or being rude, or definitely not using them to trespass on someone's property or something like that, they should be an endless amount of places for you to ride. And like I said, that's my favorite part about these things, is that sky's the limit to where you want to take them.
So despite the plenty of uphills on the course, I never really found it difficult to climb them with the scooter, except for one which was pretty steep, and with my weight on the scooter, I weigh about 170 pounds. So it was a bit of a struggle, but that's fairly simple to overcome. You just kick it like a regular scooter and off you are. That was the only time where I found it, a little bit of a struggle. Other than that, it just, smoothly crawled over everything. And I know it's not an off-road scooter, but even if you have to, take a detour or hit the dirt or the grass or stuff, it holds its own pretty well. And that was kind of impressive to see it, handle the not severe off-road terrain, but a pretty decent off-road terrain. So one thing I had to do, which I don't really recommend because this is not what this thing is designed for, is I drove it on public roads, and I'm not talking about the subdivision private roads. I'm talking about the basically a public highway. Unfortunately, I needed to, cross that to get to the other side, and I was a lot less scared than I thought I would be. I don't know if it was because of the rear brake light or because of, the actual speed of it, because 22 miles an hour is not the speed limit. It's way below. But for a short period of time, it was way less sketchy than I anticipated. Again, I will say, do not do that because that is not what this thing is for. It is not a street legal insured machine, that's meant to be on public roads like a public highway. But I'm just saying that when I had to do that, it was not as bad as an experience as I thought it would be. That being said, I'd still much rather ride this, on trails or like this course or subdivisions or, less crowded streets because it is way more fun and way less stressful. I really enjoy the fact that this is a rear-wheel drive scooter, so when you shift the weight backwards and accelerate, you can actually pop little wheelies with this thing, which is pretty funny and interesting because most scooters, like I said, they give you a front-wheel drive scooter. I really like the dashboard on this scooter. It gives you obviously the main thing you need, which is the speed, but it also has something else, which is, I believe, an efficiency meter, which shows you how much energy you're using. For example, when you're coasting and you're not on the throttle and you're just rolling down a hill or something, it's on 0, so it's showing you that you're not using any more energy from the battery. But then when you're going uphill or when you're on flat ground, it shows you the level of how much energy you're consuming. So that's pretty cool to see, and it's something that can be useful if you're on low battery and you're trying to coast as much as possible before you get to your nearest charging spot. And again, this is not like an electric car or something. You can carry the charger in your backpack and charge it anywhere with a wall socket.
So to put into perspective, this scooter, for example, doesn't have suspension. Not only that, it also has hard tires, not air tires like this. So as much as I love this thing, it makes the ride much, much harsher than this, way more aggressive. Definitely not something you want to ride for such a long time. On this, it's so comfortable, really. It's very enjoyable to ride for as long as you want. As long as the battery is lasting, you can ride this for days without complaining from anything. And that's what I love about it. I think as far as scooters go in the up to the $600-700 range, I think this is one of the best that I've tried. And I've tried a lot of others, honestly. I'm not going to name brands right now, but from my experience, within that price range, up to the $700 mark, this is one of the best you can buy right now. That's just my opinion. Another thing which is really cool from Hiboy is this bicycle lock. It's a high-end one, so it's a good quality bicycle lock, not like the junk you might find. And it's made specifically to work with the Hiboy scooter. And let's open it up. So here's the lock itself. You have the option to code it or to use the 2 keys that come with it. This is the attachment that you have to, put onto the scooter. You screw it in with the lock nuts and then you can attach it to the lock right here. Or in my opinion, you can just, since this is steel, just lock it around the handlebars or find another way to lock it, because these are great. But again, anyone can bring a screwdriver and unscrew this. So I think the best thing to do is just, lock it, find a way to lock it to the frame of the scooter if possible. All right, guys, so that's it for today's video on this Hiboy Max Pro scooter. I hope you enjoyed it, but more importantly, I hope you found it useful. For anyone that's interested in getting this, now I hope you have, a better idea of what you're getting into. I personally really like this scooter. I've been driving a few electric scooters lately, just because, they're very convenient and easy to use and, accessible everywhere almost, really. But yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, stay safe. I'll see you next time. Ciao.